The Minister for Defense, Serigne Modou Njie, has told Star TV that the newly launched National Defense Policy will reposition the country's defense sector in its reprofessionalization drives. Honorable Njie was speaking to our reporter Modou Elbaj at his office on 6th Marina Parade in Banjul.
Since the establishment of the Gambia Armed Forces in 1984, the country's defense sector has been operating with a policy that was carved in the colonial era, but the advent of the Barrow-led administration has set the ball rolling for a reform strategy which has in August of this year launched what could be the first ever defense policy as part of the ongoing security sector reform initiative in 2017. The establishment of this important defense doctrine indicates the Gambia government's willingness to actualize its democratization's objectives. The Minister for Defense, Honorable Serigne Modou Njie, outlines the objective of the National Defense Policy.
Basically, the policy seeks to address many things. First and foremost, it talks about how we can deal with the defense and the security of the territorial integrity of this country. That is the direction that the policy is trying to create, an atmosphere where every Gambian, would have that kind of understanding that the defense institutions and the defense sector will go according to their constitutional mandate to provide them with the necessary security for the citizens to be able to go about their normal business. The policy also seeks to address professionalism. The only defense institution is the Gambia Armed Forces. How we can create capacity building in the armed forces. How we can also refocus, and also how we can also reposition the Gambia Armed Forces in line with their constitutional mandate. Of course, you are aware that the constitutional mandate that is assigned to the armed forces is to defend and to protect the territorial integrity. This is very principal. This is very fundamental. Protecting and defending the territorial integrity of this country is one of their core mandates.
Minister Njie added that the policy covered both internal and external matters that are security related.
How equipped are your personnel when it comes to this doctrine? How far have they gone in knowing, the content of this doctrine?
Exactly. I think the defense institutions, which is the armed forces, they are very well informed about this national defense policy. From the inception, they were part of the National Defense Policy Drafting Committee. That alone means that the senior management and other level of command of the Gambia Armed Forces were part and parcel of the drafting, committee of the defense policy. We had a lead consultant, Professor Ann Federal, who was assisted by a local consultant, the Right Honorable Sarif Emel Gomez. He was also a former Minister of Youth and Sports, a respectable and distinguished gentleman who led also the defense policy with the entire team. In fact, my permanent secretary and many staff in this ministry also were part and parcel of that. Mr. Jesse today was part of that also drafting committee. So the senior management, middle and junior management of the armed forces also were part of the drafting committee of this defense policy. They are very well informed about it. And if you look at also the policy in its entirety has to, speak the language of how we can, make the armed forces the finest armed forces that will only concentrate on its constitutional mandate.
The Minister for Defense noted that efforts are underway to come up with a national defense strategy and implementation plan, which is currently at its finishing touches. But to fully actualize this, the ministry needs solid financial muscles to bankroll its plans.
Continue to engage our partners. If you look at the defense policy, in fact, we must also take this opportunity to thank, the British government. They have supported, the policy to its conclusion. And also, we must thank also our other partners, the EU, the Americans, and then the Turkish, and many other partners who have participated in making sure that the policy gets to the stage. Of course, we will continue to engage, partners to make sure that the strategic, and implementation plan is also, successfully completed.
The National Defense Policy did not only seek to address the mandate of personnel of the Army, but also to equip them with the required knowledge in the execution of their sworn duty.
Again, does this policy have anything to do with the welfare of personnel? It is also key.
Yes. Of course, if you look at the policy, one of its key objective area is to make sure to try to provide the enabling environment, the issue of looking after the welfare and the well-being of members of the Gambia Armed Forces. This is very key and very important. The policy tries to make sure that they will provide and enhance and support, the armed forces to become well-equipped, sustained, well-modernized. These are key areas. Looking at the welfare and the well-being of the armed forces also to make sure that they continue to enjoy support to be able to help them discharge, their functions.
However, these policies and programs are all geared towards building a vibrant defense institution that will work based on the aims and aspirations of the people it defends in line with the dictates of the Constitution. For Star TV, I am Mojo El Baji.